so this is our CED Office Hour Live, and with CED Office Hour Live, we like to really just spend that limited amount of time, talk about maybe a specific topic as a sort of a conversation starter, and then share some of the things that we're doing within CED. But just what people may be interested in talking about or discussing at the at any given time. And the way that we do it is on the first session each month, we like to focus and have it exclusively for extension staff, which gives us an opportunity to come together, and then we can share what we're doing with our colleagues in the other program areas. And then, as we just heard from James, sort of impromptu, what he's doing in terms of FCS down in the Cincinnati area or southern region. Wish we would have got that recorded, but that was real good. And so what we wanted to do here today, I'm going to facilitate the session that we're going to do, and I'm going to talk about this concept of the golden circle. So I'm going to start my slideshow here, and some of you may have seen some of this, but I just want to use it as a introduction and an opportunity for us to have a conversation started here. Make sure. All right. Is the slide showing? Do you guys see the main slide there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
It's showing.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, it comes from some information. I was doing a program in the Cleveland area, and one of the co-presenters, one of the guests that we had invited, when he got up to introduce and talk about what his organization does, he made reference. This was a few years back. Made reference to Start With Why, this book by Simon Sinek. And as he got into it, I was like, wow, I hadn't read that book. I hadn't heard of that one yet. And so after doing a little bit more research, it did seem like something that I could relate to. And I think that a lot of businesses, individual professionals could benefit from in terms of being aware of. So it starts with there are only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it or you can inspire it. And as I was just referenced, the idea is captured in the concept known as the golden circle, which was made popular by Simon Sinek in his book, Start With Why. It is based upon the premise that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And in his book and in some of the presentations that he gives some examples of that in terms of some of the different corporations, popular corporations that we know of. But so the question is, well, why is it that some leaders and organizations are able to inspire greater loyalty and engagement among their customers and employees? How are they able to achieve and sustain inordinate amounts of success year after year after year, over a long period of time? Every organization on the planet knows what they do. These are the products that they sell or the services that they offer. Some organizations know how they do what they do. These are the things that make them special or set them apart from their competition. Very few organizations know why they do what they do. It's going to require a deeper analysis. And why is not about making money. That is a result of you doing what you do. Why is a purpose or a cause or a belief. It is the very reason that the organization exists or if you're applying it to an individual in terms of why they exist to do their particular occupation or career that they're pursuing. When these three pieces, the why, the how, the what, when these three pieces are aligned, it gives us a filter through which to make decisions. It provides a foundation for innovation and for building trust. When all three pieces are in balance, others will say with absolute clarity and certainty, we know who you are, we know what you stand for. And in applying it to myself, because I had given this presentation or portion of it previously, I would introduce myself at this point, and I'm sort of going to ad-lib a little bit here. I am Ambrose Moses, and among many other things, I am an extension educator with Central State University's Cooperative Extension Service. So what do we do in extension? There is a definition on NIFA's website that I like to refer to quite often as I go out and share with folks as we engage and tell them about extension and so establish that awareness of the university, but then also what extension is. And so on NIFA's website, their definition is that extension, through extension, land-grant colleges and universities bring vital, practical information to agricultural producers, small business owners, consumers, families, and young people. And we know that from our different program areas that where it fits within this definition. But when we put it all together, you can see that what we provide as from extension or through extension, there's really something that that touches everyone. We have a little bit of something for everyone. So within CED, Community and Economic Development, we work with businesses, organizations, and communities. And Ready, Set, Grow is our original and core business development program, and upon which much of my work with Extension is built. And we started back with it in 2017. When Anthony came on, Anthony Barwick came on as the program leader. I came down to campus. I was based in Cleveland at that time, and I wanted to come down to meet the program leaders, that were just brought on. And so I went to their office there in Emory Hall, sat down with, at that point, I think it was Anthony. I forget, we had an A&R, another A&R program leader. Oliver. Mr. Dr. Freeman, Oliver Freeman, and then also Dr. Prosper as well. And then Anthony, had already started laying out different programs, and one of them that he had was Ready, Set, Grow. And so we talked about that, and ultimately, some of the things that I had already been doing, it fit right into that model of Ready, Set, Grow. And so we use that as one of the core frameworks upon which, what I was doing was based, because we only had the two of us to serve the state at that time. And so Ready, Set, Grow serves businesses at all levels, from the entrepreneur to the mature. It serves both businesses and also the agribusinesses. Now, my core programs help individuals in establishing a sound foundation upon which to build their business or their agribusiness. And we start with business planning, which is an important part of establishing that foundation. And when you do a business plan, folks are going to do some level of planning. Either they're going to do it in writing or they're going to just keep it in their head. The preference is that they do business planning in writing, but it can be a sort of a complex process at times when you look at definitions or examples of business plans. They can get very detailed and technical. And so what we do, we have a 4-page business plan. And the 4-page business plan breaks down the process into manageable and easily understood steps. Thus, we help entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs we serve, establish that sound foundation by breaking it down into those manageable steps. Then also, based upon some of my prior experience before coming to Extension, the legal structure of a business is also one of the first decisions that will be made concerning the ownership, the liability, and the tax consequences involved with that operation. And so we also talk about some of those. We have some of that, and through that we introduce and help the entrepreneurs to understand those basic options so that when they work with their legal or their accounting professionals, they will be able to make better informed decisions. And then more recently, in terms of what we do or what I do, in 2020, Dr. Dasgupta and Anthony came to me, and we saw the impact of COVID-19. We decided to develop a program called Primer to address the need for disaster management education in the communities that we serve, and which was going to be a new thing for us to get into. Within Extension, there's been some preliminary delving into that subject matter, but we wanted to actually put a program in place to actually deliver. So one objective of the disaster management education is to increase the community's awareness as to what emergency and disaster management is. After researching some of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention social vulnerability index and engaging with some of the community stakeholders, disaster preparedness for businesses stood out as an unmet need. So we knew that there are four primary components of disaster management, but the preparedness component was the one that we were going to focus on. So to address this need, we developed a couple programs. One of them is the 3 R's of disaster preparedness, where we talk about records, relationships, and ready.gov, which is a major information resource that is provided by FEMA and a number of other federal agencies that's available for individuals, businesses, communities. All this information is aggregated together at that location. Then a crucial part of preparedness is also the planning for the eventuality of an emergency or a disaster. And so what we decided to do there in terms of a second program in disaster management is the disaster preparedness, the business continuity plan. And in this class, the participants are introduced to the 6 steps of the business continuity planning process. And so we go into details of those things. Now, that gives you an example of what we do. So in using the golden circle, the question then becomes, well, how do we do it? And some of this sort of relates back to that first meeting when I came down to campus, met with Anthony as well. He had a book, and it was, I think it was called "The Movable School Goes to the Negro Farmer," and it was actually a book that was written by Thomas Monroe Campbell back in the early 1900s. And so how we do what we do, Thomas Monroe Campbell was the first federal extension agent out of Tuskegee Institute. So we do it in much the same way as Thomas Monroe Campbell did. He and his folks there at Tuskegee with the movable school. And at that point, their movable school was a wagon that was funded by some of their benefactors at that time. And then they would take the equipment, the new farming tools and the new practices out to those farmers and teach them how to use these introduce them to the tools, teach them how to use them, things of that nature. And then they also had, as time progressed, and you can see on the slide here, they also developed a movable school that was motorized, so it wasn't just horse and drawn wagon. Then they also got a motorized movable school, and you can see they also introduced at that point, at that time, some of the women who were helping to do some of the work with the families. So while the farmers, the men were learning the farming techniques, then they had folks teaching nutrition and those things in the households on those farms at that time. Because remember, at that time, the majority of the country was agricultural and more rural as well. And so, similar to that methodology of taking the education in terms of how of taking the education out to the community, we do the same thing. We take extension education and training out to the communities across the state of Ohio. And we do that through various efforts and collaborations with the stakeholders that we have, like the SBA. This is an example of Columbus, where we did a program with the SBA. And actually, at this location, I'm seated at the table there. There's one of our partners. And at this event, Renita Porter, our FCS educator, was there as well, because at that time we had 5 primary counties that we were serving, and we had one extension agent county agent in those counties. And so our process at that time was that if you were going to do a program outside of your county, if you were going into someone else's territory, you had to make them aware of that and sort of coordinate that with your colleague whose territory that was. And so at this event here, it was myself and Renita Porter, because it was in Columbus while I was based in Cleveland. We also have more agricultural in terms of some of the partners that we have, events, going out, such as working with NRCS and USDA. And so this was an event up that we did up at their location in the Cleveland area. They were meeting with some of the local farmers. Then we also have, in terms of how we deliver, we attend a wide variety of different functions to share information. And on some of this occurred during that first 2 weeks in my territory. Got a call that the dean was coming to Cleveland, and they wanted me to have a presence at the event. And so I think we had 2 days notice. I had to run up and down the highway from Cleveland down to campus to try and get whatever small materials I could to bring back to set up a table outside at the event. And it was rain or shine. and what I tried to do was to be prepared, but I forgot my umbrella that day. So I had everything except for my umbrella. So there's a picture there. But there were some other days where we still go out in terms of how taking the knowledge and information out to the community. There were some better days where we did programs and presentations outside and the weather was nice. There are also things inside of high tunnels or greenhouses, wherever there are groups of people who need and want the education that we have. This was an urban ag education group that we were presenting to here. They do, I think they go over a period of 5 months, but we facilitated 2 sessions of their program with another organization. And then they have wider meetings and gatherings where there's various community government representatives, dignitaries that come from outside the state, to visit as well. So all of this is part of how we do what we do, and showing that uniqueness of extension, of doing that kind of outreach. And so whereas there's a lot that's done with agricultural within our program area of CED, Community and Economic Development. We can actually talk on and address a wide range of topics. And so this is one where we engage with middle school and high school students concerning civic duties and free speech. And this occurred back in like 2019. And this was during the time when a lot of the young people were engaged in various protests across communities across Ohio and across America. And there were a lot of free speech discussions, that they wanted to know about. And so we did some research, put together a presentation. We talked about the Tinker versus Des Moines case and that kind of thing in terms of students and their protection for doing protests at school. In terms of in the Tinker versus Des Moines case, they wore black armbands, and those students were suspended because they were wearing black armbands to protest the war at that time. And then they ended up, the Supreme Court saying that they were protected in doing so, and so that it was improper for the school to suspend them. But we took the opportunity to share with students about that history and about some of the actual technicalities of that. We also shared information in terms of just about protest. Taught them some of the methodology of direct action. What are the elements of that as practiced by Dr. Martin Luther King and the other folks. Who were known and unknown in the civil rights movement. They have the various basic steps of nonviolent protest and direct action. And so to do what we do in terms of the how, all we need is a space, a message to deliver, and the people. So that's how we do what we do. But there still is the question, why do we do what we do? And from my perspective, and I think it can become very unique to the individuals, which I hope that we can get into today, as we sort of open it up for discussion. During my first year, I did come across in my preparation in terms of, why we do what we do, came across a quote from Nelson Mandela, which I put it in pretty much most of the presentations that I do, and it's sort of a common thread that I tend to stay with throughout my work in extension, which is education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So from my perspective, why do we do what we do? It is because we are here to change the world. And that is one man's perspective. Now I would like to know, what do you think? So I will unshare and we can open it up. All right. So, anybody have any thoughts or want to share why they do what they do in their extension work? Now, y'all see that on my screen, it has folks' names. I could sort of call folks out one by one, but I can start with my colleagues on the CED team. They've heard me talk about this before, but why don't some of you share? Maybe Amber, you want to share sort of your perspective of why you do what you do in extension? Are you able to unmute? Or maybe not. Oh, so Donna has to leave. Okay. Okay, how about Anthony? Are you available?
Yeah,
Can you hear?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I think.
Since I mentioned you a few times, during that first year, I mean, those were some impactful, you know, times, meetings that we had during that early phase, and like you put together, um, the Ready Set Grow, um, well, but even before the Ready Set Grow, you talked about the first thing you showed me was that book,
Right.
and that was impactful. And I'll tell you the truth. I actually have searched. I wanted to buy my own copy. You cannot find that anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Those we talk about like back in the day when we first got started. It seems so long ago. Um, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot that you and I were trying to do, and to have you cover those counties and while we were trying to get things off the ground, it's so funny just to see where we are. Um, but what I like about what our journey has been, it's been consistent as far as our intentions, and it was not just to have cookie cutter programming. I think it's what's been successful. I think for our team is um, I have some great outspoken team members, and you guys are smart, and you guys help to make my job a lot easier. Um, you all have a wealth of knowledge in community and economic development. So when we take this approach as far as developing programs, since we didn't have a already pre-developed curriculum or pre-developed programming, we're, we were left to kind of create our own. What I like about what we've been able to do is create signature programs and allow you guys to have input and allow you guys to add in your creativity, your experience, your networks, and those kinds of things. So we came with an approach of a three-legged stool approach, where the associate director and whatever he or she required. Then we have what the community, what they requested as far as needs assessments, and then the third being you guys to bring in your creative ideas. And that's what I think has really worked for us. What's great about us is that we take our hats off as far as titles, and we mix it up, and we go back and forth, and I'll try to poke holes in your theories, and you guys give me back the 1 2. And sometimes yeah, look at Amber nodding her head. um, and that's, I think, what makes it so great. And so I think what has really helped us is these are well established programs, and just through your networks and what you all do, we're able to create some interesting programs. And so it's been just a joy to work with you all, as well as to partner with our other focus areas with A&R. We got some good stuff going as far as the farm incubator. Ambrose, what you're working on, coming up with Renita, uh, Paige, and Eric, and Amber, what you're doing within your regions is great. So I'm just happy to have a great team. Yeah, we are the smallest, and I my position on that. But we're mighty. And last part I like to say is the team really looks out for each other. For everyone who's listening to this call, you have to see how they look out for each other. They fill in for each other. They have their own meetings, and then they have a meeting with me. So it really works. And from the CED office hour live that they came up with, I like to say that I came up with it, but I didn't.
Like
You
that
see,
entree to entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship. Okay, she had to do that shameless plug. You see how Amber is. No, I'm kidding. But and you see how like our backgrounds, we try to have uniformity. So because we know what when we're interfacing with our key stakeholders, our community partners, and these kinds of things, we want to demonstrate that we have, that we're professionals. So it's been a joy to work with you all and continue the great work. So I'll stop there before I start getting all mushy.
All right, all right. So, Amber, what are you thinking in terms of your why?
Well, even though this leader tried to take all the thunder, but honestly, it's really about being able to do impactful programming. And instead of it being, I always say, instead of it being a top down, we have more of a cross functional model. And everything that we do is really driven from the community. It's not, it's like if the community says this is the kind of program we need, we say, okay, how can we address that gap or that need? And then we go make sure it's research based and all of that. But the need, the communication, not the other way around. And I think that's what makes us kind of unique in general. And then on top of all of our experience, we are the A team, because even though we all have community economic development experience, it's all in our expertise is in different parts of it. And we lean on each other's expertises to make well-founded, well-grounded programs. And I think that speaks to the ability of our programs to be and measurable and duplicated. Is our goal, as we all came together in September, because me, Paige, and Eric started in September, that was the first thing everybody said. We want to be a model. We don't want to just do cookie cutter program. We don't want to do a one-off. If you're going to make behavior changes or sustainable changes, it has to be a series of things, right? And that's how we function. That's our premise. So that's why I do what I do.
All right, all right. I know that some folks have dropped off because they have some other commitments and all. Is there anyone from any of the other program areas? Would you guys anybody want to comment about what motivates them, or what why they do, or why did they come to Extension, and why do they do what they do within their framework?
Yeah, Bruce, I'll share from a standpoint of, I'm not sure if many know my story, but this opportunity came to me as asking me to share. Hey, Keys, share this with your network, because I think you may know somebody that will fit this role. And as I looked at it, I thought I knew somebody very well, and I applied, right? Because I was in transition, doing some things that I do, but due to COVID, I was in food service sales for the last 20 years, working for, PepsiCo, and doing some consulting and some other brokers and things. And then because of food service, that kind of ended. But I've always been in health and wellness. I've always been in mentoring and coaching and teaching. So when this opportunity came across my plate, it was like, wow. And I'll say it, if I get in trouble, Michelle, just slap me, but I'll say, wow, God, thank you very much for putting me in position so that I could do this. So for me, it's my why is because I want to give back. I want to continue to help people, take advantage of the opportunities that they don't know exist. I want to be able to present people and present opportunities. And I tell you what, working in the Southern region and having Amber in the Southern region, I'm like, whenever I have a question about somebody or something, especially in Butler, Hamilton County, she gives me a name, she gives me a contact, she gives me, she gives me just all that information that I need. And just working with Central State, and when some people see me come out into the community, they say, hey, are you here to talk about, getting students to come into university? I said, no, I'm not, but yes, I am, right? Because it's one of those things that we talk about, and we're in the community, and some young kid or some adult may see me representing CSU properly and in a professional manner, and they say, you know what, I think I want to consider Central State for my kid, or for me even. So for me, it's leveraging all of that, is using my relationships, to grow, to just be able to give back and be able to help people live healthier, better lives, and not just, you know, from a physical standpoint, but also from a mental standpoint and a spiritual standpoint, relationship standpoint. So I'm just, my why is so big. I'm getting chill bumps right now because, like Anthony, I could just go on and talk. You know, that's what we do, and I'll just leave it at there. It's what we do, right? We show up. But from that standpoint, you know, I just appreciate you asking me or giving me this second option to talk and be recorded. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir. You got it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. So thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And it sort of brought to mind when I applied. I mean, I've been practicing law for many years, and as part of that, I was doing a lot of volunteer work, you know, going to SBDC and different agency, the SBA. And then I saw this position. I wanted to transition. I wanted to use my legal skills, but in a different setting. And I saw this position and I was like, wait a minute, you mean I can get paid to do what I was volunteering to do? So, you know, it's a different setting, but I was like, wow. And then I got to learn about the land grant system as well. So yeah. All right. Is anyone else from any of the other program areas want to comment or add anything to the discussion?
One thing I would like to know from like Centrise and Brooke and Michelle and Shoshanda and James, now that you've kind of at least got a feel of what CED is, as you know, there are a lot of aspects to CED. It's humongous, like the word diversity, right? There's so many different ways to apply it, and it's very interdisciplinary. But just in your interactions with us thus far, what are some things see how we can help you with meeting your goals and objectives for your teams, departments, and areas within extension? I would be interested in knowing that. Y'all know I'll call out some names.
I was gonna say I'll go if you want me to, but so far just doing what you guys have been doing. You've been very open. You've come down and had our open, you know, our roundtable event, and we would like to keep implementing that. So you guys just continuing to be available and like James said, having that passion behind what you're doing, it really helps. And as far as showing the university off in a good light. So just continuing to communicate with us. You know, me and Amber, you know, we talk a lot. So we'll be communicating with you guys to get some more places that we would love to have you at to do programming and reach out with the people in our region. So everything sounds good. And just being here in this meeting definitely, other than the roundtable event, this definitely gave me a better scope of what you guys offer as well.
Yep, and I would echo that. You know, and the one thing that me is just having the knowledge and the expertise that you guys bring to the table. Like even yesterday when I was in Middletown and I was seeing a potential customer, I call it a potential partner, and while I was there, she introduced me into another person that is dealing with economic development. And it was just a perfect transition. So today, when we had our Southern region call, I can tell Amber, hey, look, I have a contact for you. And I said, I don't know where it's going to fit, what gap is open, but this may be something you want to follow up with. And that's what we tend to do all the time, is just put us in front of other people that we may be able to help or fill the gap, as Amber said earlier. So I appreciate that. And I think we just continue to grow off of that and, you know, make extension even better.
All right.
Well, I'd like to add a couple things. I feel like you guys are the puzzle builders, first of all. Gaps that are unknown, you guys make it easy for someone to understand. Again, with the transparency, I like that part. I love the office hours live. Things that I didn't understand in the beginning, I'm understanding better. I know I can go and ask Anthony or Amber any question, or Ambrose, and I can get an answer for what I'm looking for. You guys are excellent, and I just hope that we can continue to grow and get better as we go, because I mean, the opportunity is here. I would like to see a few more of the programs that you offer come to Greene County. I know we're short staffed. I know we don't have a lot of people, but I have unfortunately some family members that could use the record expungement, or record sealing, sorry. And um, even with entrepreneurial skills, my son's an entrepreneur. He has his own business. And he's not just he's everywhere. He's just everywhere. He's all over. Wherever somebody calls him to work, that's where he's at. His girlfriend, she's an entrepreneur. She's a hairdresser. She works out of her home right now. So there's a lot of people that I can touch bases with to get in touch with you. But to be able to get back to them, I know you guys are stretched, and I just wish that we could have more of you around that could get out to more people. So that's all I'd like to say.
If I thank following you, what you're saying, Shoshana. First, thank you. I think with all due respect, you're the oldest in experience. For all of Extension, you've been with Central State for like 900 years. So we got to give props where props are due.
I feel like it sometimes.
Right. But I just want to share with you all too is that through our networks and through our contacts that we've established, those are yours as well. And if you need the contacts that you may need, whether it's professional, personal, that you don't have to go through the formal route. That's why we as a team, as Extension, if you need a direct contact, that's what that relationship allows. So we have contacts to the people who are at the table. You know what I mean? The Secretary of State, you saw the summit that we did. The Secretary of State, we have access to Congresswoman Beatty, and she knows Ambrose on a first name basis. You see what I mean? The state of Ohio, Department of Development, and all the other offices and other resources that we have. You can ask us, and we will direct that. We don't hoard information. We're here to share it, and because you guys are internally network with us, we are supposed to, we will provide you first name and get you, direct contact too. So please know that. And I'm glad, Shoshana, that you said about like the record selling. I think everyone knows that I have two sons that are currently incarcerated. So it's not just us just trying to help the community. You are the community. And so the record sealing has been valuable for me as a father with two black males who has to go through this, and they're soon to be released. So just through the relationships that we've been able to establish. Yeah. So I just want to say that, and it's from the heart that we mean what we say, and we know folks just like you all know folks. So please network and get with us for anything that you need. That's it.
All right. So as we we are getting close to the top of the hour, so we'll be wrapping it up here in just a few. I do appreciate the folks who have shared thus far. Are there any final thoughts or comments that anyone wants to share concerning the their why of what they do in Extension, or sort of their motivation in coming to the job? I think that one of the measurements that I've done over the years in terms of sort of job or career satisfaction is sort of the getting up to day to day, to go into the job. And this, continues to be similar to my work prior as a lawyer. I get up to go in and do that fight. I mean, and it's like being motivated to do that. And knowing that you're going to have different challenges each day, each day is different than the one before. But being motivated, encouraged, and feeling, driven to get up and get out there and to engage. So that is, sort of the feeling, that I have about it, from my my work here. But that's sort of like the last one, I guess, for me to share. But any final words anyone else has before we close out? Don't be shy. All right. Okay. Well, we don't want to hold you all, any longer than necessary. I do want to thank you all for showing up. We think we had a good turnout here today. Here for Office Hour Live, and we will be doing a session next week, but that one will be open more to the public. So we'll share the topic with you, and feel free, once you get the flyer, to distribute it to your network of community members who may be interested in the topic that we're going to discuss. All right. Well,
if you don't mind, Amber, that's the format that we follow, you all, everybody. When we have our CED Office Hours Live, the first week of every month is internal for you, for our team, just so you all know what's going on. That's the whole purpose of these. And then the last 2 weeks of a month are for our featured guests. That's how our format follows. So,
right.
Make sure we share that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that, Anthony. Amber, did you get your hand up?
Thursdays at 2:00. And I just wanted to say, Brooke had just stated that she said that I would say I truly love my position. I wanted a position in my field that allowed me to give back to my community and the public in general. Extension has definitely allowed me to do so. So I just wanted to say what she had typed in the chat. So thank you, Brooke. Look forward to continuing to work with you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Brooke. All right. Okay. Well, that is it for today. And I want to again thank you all for showing up, and see you on Thursday next week. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well done.